Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a segment of creating awareness of what domestic abuse may look like. I am Melinda, and I am an abuse survivor. So, this week, our topic is going to be about betrayal trauma. Now, this concept first came about with a in 1991 by Jennifer Fraze, PhD. As usual, we will start with the scripture. This is coming from 1 Corinthians 7th chapter, verses 2 and 3, and this is from the World English Bible. But because of sexual immoralities, let each man have his own wife, and let each woman have her own husband. Let the husband render to his wife the affection owed to her, and likewise also the wife to her husband. So, what is betrayal trauma? So, my definition for betrayal trauma, or my interpretation, betrayal trauma can develop when your significant other basically cheats on you and you find out about it, or maybe they tell you about it out of remorse. But it creates this bond of betrayal because now you feel like this person, has violated your trust. But it is not, betrayal trauma is not just limited to your partner defiling your marriage or your relationship, but it can also manifest from emotional and physical abuse, repeated lying, hidden addictions, or your mate constantly undermining you. So, what are some signs of betrayal trauma? And these are in no particular order. Irritability and angry outbursts. So you found out about this betrayal that your partner has caused upon the relationship. And now you just can't decipher your emotions. So you're having these angry outbursts and this irritability, not just towards your mate, but you could also have it towards other people, especially those closest to you, because you don't know how to process. We're still learning how to process, these this trauma that we're experiencing. Avoidance behavior. Now we don't want to be around our mate. We don't want you to touch us. We don't want you to look at us. We don't want you to talk to us. Like, we're really hurt. You stepped out of the relationship or did something that betrayed our trust. You can also have intrusive thoughts and images about the betrayal. Maybe, no, obviously we weren't there when this betrayal happened, but now our mind is playing with us, and it's like, when did it happen? Was it this person? Did you do the things she used to like to do with me? It's just a lot of intrusive thoughts and images in our mind that are replaying themselves, because again, we're still trying to process this betrayal that happened in our relationship. Insomnia, and this is a big one. Insomnia, for a lot of people, when we get to repeating those thoughts in our mind, it's hard for us to get sleep or adequate rest, because we're constantly replaying, where did we go wrong? What did we do wrong? How did we not see this? There's just a lot of there's a lot to that. Social withdrawal. Social withdrawal comes in when, we may be ashamed or embarrassed. So now we don't want to let other people know. Now we just want to be by ourselves. We want to be in isolation because we don't want people to know that this happened to us. And hypervigilance. Hypervigilance for me came in the form of, after I had separated myself from a toxic relationship, my hypervigilance came in the form of me, because this person would constantly follow me around and show up at unexpected times. I was constantly looking over my shoulder. Constantly, is he there? Is he there? Where is he? Look in my rearview mirror. Is he there? And that is just, that's trauma, And I thank God today that I have surpassed that. As far as looking over my shoulder every 5 seconds to see if this person is still following me or showing up unannounced. So, what are some things that we as victims who have experienced betrayal trauma? What are some other signs that we may show? Well, depression. Depression is. I like the way one minister said it. It's when you're angry and your anger turns inside because we're not vocalizing it outside. So also, it could cause about in us victims low self-worth or self-esteem because again, we're trying to process and understand, why did this happen to us? I thought this was a loving, safe place, and I felt so loved in this relationship, and now you have stepped out of this relationship to fulfill um, some personal need that does not include me. Why did this happen to me? We also can feel shame, guilt, or self blame. This is also in my book, but it was a essay, not an essay, but a letter A, that happened to me in my 40s. And where it started off to be, it was supposed to be a two friends meeting up, turned into a very traumatic event for me. And I carried all of this shame and guilt, like, why didn't I recognize that this might happen? Why did I allow this person, to come to my home? Why did I trust this person who has clearly showed me they cannot be trusted? Another thing we might experience is difficulty regulating our mood swings. Like, one minute we're high, we're up, we're happy, and then all of a sudden we're sad, we're crying, we're frantic, we're angry. And these are normal feelings. So if you have gone or are going through any of these things, they are completely normal. And also, it may create in us trust issues now because you have betrayed my trust as my partner, my significant other, my mate. Now it's going to be hard for me to view you the same. And if we separate from this relationship, it's going to be hard for me to not think that the next person is going to do the same thing to you, to me, because here I trusted you and you hurt me. Who's to say the next person won't? And in many cases, not everyone is going to be as toxic and are going to hurt you. Um, so how do we cope with betrayal trauma when we recognize the signs or the symptoms of we're processing things? Which again is I would like to say, in a normal way when someone defiles your trust. So, radical acceptance. I love that. Radical acceptance says, I accept this truth right now. And this helps us acknowledge that this happened to me, and I'm not going to avoid the ideal, the thought, or the reality that this actually happened. Another thing we can do is we could practice not only accepting that this happened to us, but we can learn how to name our emotions and how this made us feel, how this violation of trust, how it made us feel. Learning to name our emotions is so important, especially if you are an empath such as myself, where I just hold a lot of things in to the point where I didn't know how to name what I felt. And it's something that I've been practicing for the past year, just learning to be more verbal and clear on how I'm feeling and how things affect me. We can also learn how to develop a routine of self care. My routine of self care embodies me doing yoga, meditation, reading a daily scripture to help me stay in a peaceful mind frame and to set the I can't think of what it's called, to how to set my day up. Also, we can understand what triggers us from this betrayal. And I feel like this is where therapy may be introduced and could really help you as the victim of the betrayal trauma to really learn how to identify not just our emotions, but what are our triggers that are setting us off or making us anxious, nervous, scared, or fearful. And lastly, just as I am doing today, share your story because your voice matters and you never know who may be going through similar or the exact same thing that you have experienced already and how it might strengthen them, encourage them, and give them the confidence of knowing that I'm not alone. Make sure, if you haven't already, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you share my videos. Thank you for watching and have a blessed week.